Okay, g'day, it's TJ Dagger here. I just want to show you guys some real basic stuff in the editor. Going to focus on F3 mode, mission mode. As you can see, I'm in F2 mode at the moment, and I've just got a blank map open, 200 by 200 I think it is. I'm going to switch to F3 mode. I've already saved my map with a name, so that's important when you you need to have your map saved already before you start putting a mission on top of it. So as you can see, we're going to go and we're just going to place some guys on the map, and we're going to look at, first of all, just getting two groups of guys and getting them to shoot at each other. Pretty basic stuff. So I'm going to put down some elite Germans, and we'll put down some elite English. Okay, you can see I've got Fog of War on there. To turn that off or on, to toggle it, is just Alt F. On and off. Okay. Now also, to rotate you guys around, you select them, you can hold down C and you can move the mouse, turns them around with C held down. If you want to turn them individually, you can use Z. Let me zoom in there a bit. You can see that they're all turning independently of each other. Okay, that's with Z held down, so you've got both options there. Let's make them look at each other. Now, at the moment, over here where it says player, they're not assigned to anybody when you first drop them on the map. So we're going to assign these guys to player 1, and we'll assign these guys to player O. So we've got player 1 over there and player O there. Now if we hit F9, brings up our little mission properties box. Okay, in here we have, it's very important to assign who the player is actually going to be. So this is who you as the player are going to play with. So we're going to assign player O as the player, and in here we have a diplomacy chart. Now the way to read this is basically we look here, player O, move along, he's enemy, we can change whether they're enemy, ally, neutral, and that's the same for more teams if you add them on the map and stuff. So that's reasonable. Like for example, player 6, if we want to know, for example with player 3, you can see that player 6 down here, there he is, he's enemy with player 3. So it takes a bit to get used to how to read that, but once you do, it's pretty easy. Now that we've got them assigned to players, we can, if we simply press start, they move these guys in a bit where they can see each other. Well, F1 mode to, if you press F1, basically you can select your guys, move them up, just like you would if you're playing. There they go. You can see those little numbers, red numbers above their head. They're called MID numbers, some sort of identifiers. You can use them to reference individuals, because each time you place something on the map, it gets automatically assigned its own individual unique number. Okay, so press finish to stop that. Back into F3 mode, what we're going to do now is we're going to grab these guys and we're going to bunch them up just a bit. And what we want to make is these guys into, we want to make these guys keep spawning. So this is where it starts to get a little bit more tricky, and we want to start using some scripting. So one of the first things we want to do is we want to add a tag to these guys. Tags are basically identifiers. you give something a name, and then later on in script you can reference that, so you know what you're talking about, and the computer knows what you're talking about. So to bring up the tag box to add a tag to something is have your units you want to tag selected. Control T. And this brings up your little tag box, so make sure you've clicked in there, and first tag we're going to add is hidden, and then add. Hidden is a tag that basically the computer knows what to do with it. It's already pre-programmed to do something with it. It's if something is tagged hidden, basically when you press start, I'll show you. So Alt T to actually make tags visible on and off the map, just like the little red identifies. So if you press start, anything that's got the hidden tag is basically hidden. It's not on the map, it doesn't interact, it's there but it's not. So let's press finish. Reloads the map and mission every time. Okay, so there they are hidden. Alt T makes it come and go. Turn our fog back off. Alright, so we're going to give them, that's what the hidden tag does, but we're going to add another tag so we can reference them ourselves. So we're going to Alt T, we're going to call them G for German, elites, and add that. So you can tag things anything you like. Now over here I'm going to make a trigger. So basically you click on there, you right click, and then you go add. So we're going to call our trigger, so we know what we're talking about. We're going to call it G elites, just like we tagged it, just to make things easy to keep track of. So there it is. Now triggers have two components. Basically they have a condition, which is the rules essentially for what makes the commands fire. For this, just to get this kick started, we're not going to, we'll do some conditions later, but we'll just start with a command. So another thing we want to do here is as part of spawning these guys in, we want to have a point on the map, a waypoint, which we reference. So we're gonna add a little category of waypoints, so to speak, to keep them separate for others, because when you're making a mission you can end up with hundreds of waypoints, so you want to keep them categorized in different folders, so to speak, which you can, I'll show you more about that later. Just going to name this, let's call it German reinforcements, and with that selected I'm going to add a waypoint and I'll just drop it there. Now that's the point I'm going to reference in my little script. I'm going to write which the Germans will appear at that point. I want them to follow a bit of a path and spread out on the map, so I'm going to build up a little bit of a waypoint path here for them. If you've got the auto link ticked and you've got another waypoint selected, it automatically links it, and I can go back here and I can make one go that way. Basically whenever they come to a junction like this, they randomly pick which side of that point they're going to go on. So let's get these guys spreading out a bit. Just something basic here to start with, just to illustrate. Now we're going to move our guys back a bit. So you can untick the camera position in F2 mode as well. Helps you zoom out a bit, see what you're doing a bit better. So basically these guys are we're going to make it so they spawn in here, they run along and they follow this path. So we're going to go to our little G elites. I'm going to write a script. Now the first thing I'm going to do is add just a small delay. about 2 seconds, because basically my script is going to fire as soon as I press start. So I'm just going to give it a 2-second delay. The command I'm going to use here is I'm going to use waypoint. So basically it wants to know who. Who am I talking about? Okay, I'm talking about my German elites. So I'm talking about these guys I gave the tag to right here. So we're going to go into here, and I'm actually going to make this, see where it says standard, I can make it advanced. Advanced gives you a lot more control over who. So I'm going to right click where it says actors here, I'm going to go group. Under here where it says select, I'm going to go the tag. Okay, the tag gives me a list of all existing tags that have already been put on the map. So I want these G elites, they're the guys I want to spawn. I want to include those with the tag hidden. So basically it's not going to grab guys who are already on the map and use them as a reference, because essentially you could have guys spawning in who, because we're going to clone them, tick that, so we could have guys spawning in who have got no ammo if we don't specify that these elite guys and things like that. So we're also going to make them a squad. Okay, the waypoint we're going to make them start at, let's just click OK there, check that, is that one there, so we want them, so that's 0. Go back to our, double click on that to open it up again. So we're going to put in there waypoint 0. And here on approach, we want them to, we'll just go safe, teleport and rotate. So what'll happen is they're going to spawn there at 0. Doesn't matter where we put these guys because they're safe teleporting and rotating, because they're doing the teleport thing. So let's fire that and see how we go. 2-second delay, and there they are. And they just wander in at a steady old pace. They're not in a hurry at all, are they? So we want them to move a bit faster than that. So let's look at how to do that. So bringing up our waypoints again, turn our fog off. Okay, so I'm going to add a command to this actual waypoint. So I've highlighted the waypoint itself. In here I've got a list of commands. Now, there's no actual conditions as such that you set for waypoints. Basically, what happens is whenever someone arrives at a waypoint, it looks at the commands to see if they're relevant. So we're going to go with an actor state. In here you can change a whole bunch of stuff. What we're actually going to do is we're going to get these guys, we're going to make sure that weapons prepared, we'll turn that on. We'll put them on free movement. We'll give them open fire. Of course they're going to be AI controlled. We'll enable the AI. Here on speed we'll put that on assault speed. So let's test that and see how it goes. Press start. There they go, look at them go now. You can play with the speed to help speed things up when you're testing stuff. You've got options here to slow down, speed up, so you can see how things are progressing as you build them. So we'll finish that. So as it currently stands, our guys simply spawn in there, run up the path and engage the enemy. And they only do that once. So we're going to go to our trigger, select it. We're going to add a few things here to make them reoccurring, make them keep coming. So the first thing we're going to do is our trigger itself. It fires once, starts at the top, runs through the commands, gets to the ends, and that's it. If we want it to be able to fire again, we've got to basically allow it to turn back on. Now the command for that is trigger. So we're going to add the trigger. We're going to select the trigger, which is the one we're using, and that's all there is to it. Basically what that does is when it gets to the end of its command list, or when it hits this command trigger, it turns the trigger off. Basically when a trigger has fired, it's in the on position, so for it to fire again it has to be first off. It begins by default, begins in the off position. So we're going to add another little delay there, because we'll give it 10 seconds for the purpose of this. Now in your list here, you've got, if you right click, you've got options to move things up and down. You've also got the little shortcut commands there and stuff. So because this starts at the top and moves down, I want a 10-second delay before it spawns in the next group. So let's just test that. There goes the first lot. Speed it up a bit. There goes the second lot. And that will basically continuously happen. There's nothing to stop it. So we want some conditions, some extra conditions to monitor how many spawn in at once, because basically the map will just fill up eventually. Crazy. More bastards. Okay, so back to our little command, and now we want to add some conditions. So what are we going to do in here? We're going to choose entities, and what I'm going to set up here is basically we're going to go, right, okay, if there's a set amount of elites, guys with the tag elite that we name them, if there's a set amount of them already on the map, then it won't fire. So we're going to go to our selector again. I'm going to put that on advanced. We're going to right click there, go group. We're going to talk about the tag elites. Now when we spawned them in, we included the hidden tag. This time we're going to exclude the hidden tag, so put that in there. So what it's saying now is we're looking for people with the tag elites who aren't hidden. Okay, now how many? We've got our greater than, less than, equal and all this. This one here is does not equal. The little apostrophe there, that means does not equal. Okay, so for this we want the number of elites who are hidden to be less than. So let's say less than 30. And then we'll fire that. We'll make this timer a little bit less just so it goes faster while we're watching it. Okay, so let's test that. So it's pumped out 30 and no more. So just to make sure that's broken, simply delete a bunch, which brings in a bunch more. So it's going to. So what our little script does now is it maintains 30 on the map. There we go. As the guys get shot and killed, they'll be replaced. And that's a very simple little reinforcement script. Of course you can make up all sorts of little conditions depending on your map. You know, you could have it set up so that the enemy has to, the player has to reach a certain position on the map, take a flag, whatever, before a certain enemy will come in and things like that. It's really up to you. But that's just a basic how to get some enemies spawning on the map. You can do that for tanks, whatever, doesn't matter, anything you want.